Hello everyone! Blue Star Saber here once again to do another One Piece chapter review. Chapter 1099, Bonnie's Birth. Now I wanted to try and do this chapter for quite a few weeks now, but I've just kept being delayed because of I've been doing other stuff. And boy, I wish I did, because arguably this is perhaps the darkest and most controversial, and possibly even maybe the most controversial chapter in One Piece history, and which, yeah, see, at least from what I can tell. I mean, granted, some might argue there might be other darker chapters, but controversial, I definitely think it is. But I think you can probably tell just by the title alone. But before that, we get the One Piece cover request, in which you have the reader requesting that Brock busting out a solo using an electric eel to power his guitar by Noda Skywalker. You know, sometimes I just wonder if people just put these random names in when they request a thing. But you see a Brock pretty much playing with this like shark guitar, and you see like a smiling eel and the electricity of rock. And on Brock's written legs is like written in Japan saying, "Sorry, I didn't finish the art in time, Oda," because apparently there's been quite a bit of talk that Oda, either due to his health, didn't that he wasn't feeling well and didn't manage to finish doing like all the sketch, like covering over the sketching. Though granted, I've also heard, particularly I think Mr. Moji, who thinks that because Oda was working so much more on heavy lining on this certain artworks this chapter, he didn't have enough time to finish the others. But either way, we're likely not going to see the full cover, the full inking of this chapter into the manga volumes release. So yeah, though whether or not Oda decides to actually keep some of the more dark with the art lines, we'll have to wait and see. But anyway, on to the actual chapter. The chapter begins in the Revolutionary Army's HQ of Baltigo, where someone's requesting backup for a rebellion in Tuma in the South Blue. Let's see, and with someone responding how they can't go because they don't. Let's see, as they apparently to report, which I believe it's Ivanka. It's revealed to be Ivankov, who is, let's see, their ship's already been loaded by all of the injured from the Goa Kingdom. And my understand, so this is taking place just after, I think, Dragon, Ivanka, all that stuff have went to the Goa Kingdom, and you had the Luffy, Ace, and Sabo flashback. So yeah, and Dragon has rescued Sabo. But Kuma volunteers to go, but they're telling him not to push himself ever since Ginny's capture. And Rebel Army is surprised about. You can see like some of the forces that the revolutionaries are fighting here, or the rebellion here is fighting, while they're being shocked by by his size and where he come from. And then you kind of hear Kuma like flashback bits with Kuma's serious eyes in between cold stare of like Journey being captured, and we learn that a celestial dragon had his eyes on Ginny and had been taken by the world government to become the celestial dragon's wife. And you can just kind of see Kuma's pain expression from hearing that. And we see that as a result of Kuma's actions in this kingdom, they end up winning it. And apparently this war's been going on for 3 years. And the rebels are thanking the Revolutionary Army. And then you get a Denda and Mushi saying about how their unit has been wiped out by a surprise attack. And you can see it's the Marines, where they're hearing that it's the Revolutionary Army again. And that the Revolutionary, and you see the Revolutionary Army's flag with people playing them true heroes. With Kuma contacting Dragon that he's here, as you can see him listening here. As he said, he tries to take as he said, he's too tired and he'll take his ship alone. And just hearing in the background, just like, I'm so sorry, which is arguably probably the rebels that are apologizing for Ginny's capture. as you see Kuma landing back, but then you can see we cut next to the next scene where it's 2 years later, and it's revealed that Ginny, Captain of the Revolutionary Army, narration about being abducted by a celestial dragon to become his wife. And you hear it's like a sort of baby crying, and Ginny says, revealing it's Bonnie, that they're here. As they tell it's back. We cut back to Revolutionary HQ, where let's see, you have someone telling Kuma that Ginny's here, with you see Dragon, Ivankov, and Kuma all listening in on the Den Mishi, with her saying, telling Kuma that with his nickname she gave her, saying that she's back on the lower world, Kumichi. With I think Kuma shouting out Ginny's name, telling her that she got sick and they didn't want her anymore as a result of that, so they dumped her off, thinking that's lucky her. With Kuma realizing that she is just shocked by the sick, and this is where you see the sort of dark bit of the sketchy bit. And she says that she really wishes she can see them all, but she's saying goodbye now, which is shocking Ivankov. I think maybe even Dragon, it's hard to tell with the lining. With Kuma asking Ginny what she means, and it says, like, I thought I'd never see you again, and just tell me where you are so I can teleport to you just at once. But she apologizes, as I think this, this is the bit that's really hard to tell with the sketching. I think it might maybe Ginny's arm, leg or something, but I don't know, this is the only bit where the sketching does not work, as it's a bit too messy. It might be even just the headgear, I do not know, but she apologizes, saying that she's dying and she won't last long, but tells him not to come looking for it, much to Kuma's shock. But Kuma leaves anyway, as she's now dressed as Dragon, and Ivankov, or as she still refers to him as Big Bro, asking them to watch over Kuma as he's too kind for his own good. As Kuma's shoving people out of his way, as he realizes there's only one place Ginny will go, and he starts porting out of there, as people just asking where he's going and all that. And let's see, Ginny is trying to do her final words to Kuma, but he's already disappeared by saying that, just remember, I have always love you. And Kuma has arrived in the kingdom just as she says those words, or just as she hang up, and clearly dying from clearly about to die, but you see Kuma arrived at the kingdom, where the elders, everyone's shocked he's back, but he's asking where's Ginny. But they tell her that she's here, but telling her that her face and body and all of her skin has turned blue and hard as stone after being exposed by sort of natural light, as we see her hand with the sort of effects that they describe by the Den Mishi. You can see Kuma's face tearing up, and then you start to see him looking down, I believe, at her, thinking to all the times when they were like kids to adults, about how they were happy and her wanting to get married. With one of the citizens saying they don't know what happened to her, as it ends with like, Kumichi, let's get married and I'll make you happy, and you just see Kuma just crying over her body. Let's see, as they explain that she crossed the sea by day to ensure that her baby lived in case anything happened to herself. As you see Ginny crying, and she somehow made it here safely. As you see Kuma crying, looking down at, let's see, baby Bonnie crying, as Kuma says, don't worry, Ginny, I will raise your daughter, as he says that's in a church in front of a cross, sort of symbolizing like arguably with the sun god. It's the sun in the middle of the cross, but in the middle of it is a sun. Arguably probably going to be a reference to the sun god, Nika, which the Buccaneers worship. and also you could say it's like making a silent prayer. But anyway, we cut to like a tomb of Ginny, and then you get Pritzi the elderly scolding Kuma for getting it all wrong, getting like when you see him trying to do a butt angle of the bottom and all that of a bottle to try and feed Ginny, saying that you'll drown, warning him that you'll drown her with milk. With others saying she's such a darling, as Kuma's going like this, like that. And they tell Kuma that she needs an iron cage to sleep in because if Kuma rolls over, she'll crush her. So, but yeah. But they say that she's, with many of the elderly are saying how cute she is when she's drinking and such a glutton with it, that they think that she's definitely got Ginny's appetite as Kuma thinks back to that happy memory. Then we see Bonnie say her first words of daddy. Kuma's crying. Then you see Bonnie a bit older with like many of the elders celebrating around about how cute she is and standing up. You see here later Kuma feeding her. You see some of the elders playing with her as Kuma is doing more revolutionary duties. Let's see Bath, then more of Kuma. Let's see fighting. Let's see, I think he's holding someone as an explosion happens. I think he might have shot something with a cannon, maybe. Then you see Kuma with that cage with Benny Cheney that happened earlier. Then you see Kuma training Sabo. And then we cut back to like the church where Kuma is sealing up all of the lighting and windows with like Barney's future pirate crew, asking why he's doing all this. And he tells them to shut the door. As it points out to looking at her below her eyes and say it's a stone blue, so they realize that it's the same disease that killed Ginny. With them both going to go find a doc, with Kuma says, "Please do." And then you got a doc saying, "Really, when you go into sunlight, let's take it out for a test." But Kuma's like, "Don't you dare!" Because it's getting angry at his incompetence. Another one says, well, it's not a white lead disease, so she apologizes not recognizing this one, which implies that I think she might be prejudiced to that one, but at the very least, she doesn't know this one, so she's kind of also a bit of incompetent, if you will. And then we cut to revolutionary base, where saying that Ivankov is shocked that Kuma's declared that he's quitting the revolutionary army, and also that Bonnie's caught the same disease as Ginny, and Kuma says yes. But he doesn't, and as he says, he doesn't want to know, but he wants to be there with her. And Dragon accepts this, saying that he should live his life without regrets. And he'll ask every doctor in the world that they can't. They know that they can't. They know that they can't. That they can't. Every doctor in the world that they can, get access to and all that. With Kuma thanking Dragon for his support. And then we cut to 7 years, and then we cut to now let's see, what is 7 years ago from the main timeline, where now Bonnie is age 5. And then we get a bunch of kids running away, being scared of Bonnie, saying that they'll get eaten by, calling her a vampire, they'll get eaten by her. But we see a 5-year-old Ginny giving them Bonnie giving them the finger. Telling them to get lost as they're stupid brats. As we see title card saying Bonnie, age 5. As you can see her sort of dirty rags and all that stuff. But that look kind of similar to what she's wearing, at least what she's wearing now, but not necessarily like a prototype, if you will. They tease her a bit and say that they can't, saying that she can't come this far, and they're saying a vampire can't go into the light, and then tries to put a cross in front of them. Doing this threatening to use the shining light of it, but Barney says that this is a church, you idiot, kicking him, saying and threatening him to chase him out of here. But they cry. The kids cry, but Kuma stops her from going outside and all that stuff, saying that don't do it. Even the doorway makes her nervous, and she says that her dad's being such a chicken, but I was just messing with them. Well, it tells him to don't even do it, even as a joke. Let's see, which she promises not to because she doesn't want to make Kuma sad. But Kuma gets all lovey-dovey as a father of her, saying she's such a good girl. And Bonnie ends up, as I think many fans have been saying, Kuma isn't the dad, he's the dad who stepped up. I think that's the meme. But Barney is just like, you know, what most kids do when a parent gets too clingy, say, would you stop crying like that? But yeah, embarrassed that they're showing that sort of infection. But yeah. With Barney saying that they made fun of her stone face again. And she asks, is it weird? It says that since it's a disease, she can't help it. But Kuma ends up just going in a sort of, what? Yeah, Jules? Kind of in a smiley way that you would probably maybe see from Ivankov, I think. Which kind of spooks Bonnie, but he goes like they're just jealous because it makes you look so beautiful. And this arguably where Bonnie gets the idea to call herself Jewelry Bonnie. She going like all smiling and thinks so, and says like Kuma says, yes, I love them. No, I think Kuma might be telling a little bit of a white lie here just to see, because like I bet he doesn't really want her to have that on her face. With Kuma then talks about her saying, after you cured Bonnie, if we went on a trip, where would you like to go? And this is clearly the origin of his like phrase of asking people where they want to go with his devil fruits. Bonnie reveals it, asking if he knows about the Sky Islands, and he's a bit surprised by that. He says like, and she says she saw in the book, and she says maybe Nika will be up there since it's close to the sun. And like, I bet you'll be excited. And Kuma does that Nika dance. Let's see, as they talk about how it'll be such an adventure, and he says they'll do that once she turns 20, which may be one of the reasons why she always turns into an adult. Let's see. And wondering where we're going to go for her 19th. And she said Fishman Island, so it's like all the places the Straw Hats have gone to, pretty much. But then, let's see, we cut to like a doctor who's finally able to tell Kuma what it is, saying that she has the incurable disease known as the sapphire scales. Let's see, telling him not to say it too loud. Let's see, even though if he knows what it is. And the doctor says he's only heard a few cases in recent memories, as it's apparently all kinds of like saying all kinds of natural light, sunlight, moonlight causes the stone to spread. But even if you block the cause entirely, it would eventually spread over time. So he's going to be. So as he's being brutally honest with Kuma, he says that his daughter has 5 years left to live at best. So by her 10th birthday, that she will likely die, and there's sadly no cure yet. With Kuma tearing up at the thought of like Bonnie dying at that age. With him going, is a bit of a disbelief since she's, let's see, incredibly healthy right now, and wondering if there really is no cure for this disease. And Barney ends up surprising him, going boo, shocking Kuma as he falls down. As he ends up asking Bonnie, I thought you were asleep, but she reveals that she heard about the age of 10 thing, and Kuma tries to brush it off, but let's see, she said, I heard age 10, and wondering if it's about her. And Kuma trying to pretty downplay it a bit, or do a bit of a white lie. The doctor tells her that she won't get better until you reach the age of 10. With her being a bit, with him saying that seems like such a little far away that he's feeling a little down about it. But so she ends up saying she gets excited at this news and says they can go around the world with her. But Kuma realizes that she can't really do that, but in the mind, but sort of does a sort of white lie and promises her that when she's better at age 10, and she gets excited. But Kuma's just deeply thinking down, what has he done? As then we cut to 1 year later, apparently a nightmare returns to the Soviet Kingdom, with people asking people of calling out to Kuma, asking them to help. And you see it's the elders who have been bloodied and injured from the looks of things, saying that King Britsi Bakori has gone and has returned and done again. Saying it's what happened 16 years all over again. Saying that he's going to burn everyone he thinks is weighing down the country. And saying that he's inhuman and he's going to slaughter every folk, and he's slaughtering folks on the streets. And you can see Kuma just being shocked, but he can stare higher. You can see the sort of stare anger in his eyes a bit as we end the chapter. And boy, it is a dark chapter with let's see, with Oda going places I did not expect him to go, and arguably places I did not want him to go. But yeah. Now, from what I understand, let's see. From my understand, Oda went some places that even fans from Japan did not think he should go, and that's mostly with Ginny. But I will admit, I will say first, let's see, I do like how Kuma, after Ginny has been captured, seems to be in a bit of an anger rage mode. Maybe even one could argue a suicidal charge, as he's always just teleporting to places. And let's see, teleporting to places and helping helping revolutionaries and rebellions quash their evil kings and the world government's reigns over there, being extremely helpful, particularly to one that was in the war for like 3 years. And I think it's just a way of him just trying to cope with like the loss of Barney and unable to do anything. And it's like you can feel his anger and all that stuff. And you can see the sort of and you can kind of see the bit of a fear on like the Marine. Let's see, the sort of Dendemushi with the Marines. Let's see, saying that they couldn't do anything with a surprise attack. But I think it's very interesting. I do like how Oda's done that one panel of like the Dendemushi and then your Marines going like it's the Revolutionary Army again, and you got people going like the Revolutionary Army, the true heroes. And it kind of just shows just how messed up the world is. Like the Marines are supposed to be the people of justice and the heroes of this world, but yet it's actually the Revolutionary Army that is doing the justice and being the heroes of the world, as the Marines are, keeping in power, authoritarian regime around the world, if you will, by serving the celestial dragons and all that stuff. But Kuma is really pushing himself as he is unable to use his devil fruit all the time to come back after he's injured in a fight, as he's telling Dragon, particularly on the ship thing, which I will admit, I do like that sort of thing, and I can totally understand why Kuma would do this. But the whole controversial thing is, Ginny, what many people would kind of thinking it's a possibility, but I think some really did not think that Oda would go this far. And it's the fact that Ginny was captured by the world government because the world government, because a celestial dragon had an interest in her and wanted her as a wife. But granted, as you know, the way we saw with Charlos, it's implied that this might be more of just more of like a sort of slave that they force themselves onto, if you will. So so it's very much, and given the fact that we learn that Bonnie is the which also is really dark. Is a child from like a forced marriage and arguably probably a forced mating, if you will. I'm not sure if I really want to say like the words, just so this stream doesn't get demonetized. But even maybe just talking about it, or at least implying it, will probably get that. But apparently, from what I understand, this is the bit of the thing that Japan fans thought was too dark because now, granted, One Piece there has been implied like forcing like this before. The earliest was when Hancock revealed her backstory about her and the sisters, and just the way she was talking, maybe it may not imply that the world nobles did some very unspeakable things to them, which is a bit more shocking due to their ages at the time when they were slaves. But that's kind of been left up for interpretation. No one is. It's not being exact in your face, not like outright stated. And during SBS about the time of Dressrosa, some point after Dressrosa, Oda revealed that Violet and Doflamingo, had some maybe Violet had some forced relations with Doflamingo, but he could not put in the story because it's kids' things. And this is where this is the bit where they're having a controversy with, is the fact that it's like One Piece is generally regarded as a manga for kids and all that stuff. And while yes, One Piece has had some dark elements before that, you probably wouldn't really see in most kids' media, particularly in the West. But still, its main demographic is like arguably 13-year-olds and a bit younger. And maybe some people like this may be just too dark of a subject matter. To have as for One Piece, or at least pretty outright stating, maybe imply, but this is downright pretty much outright stating and all that stuff, which I will admit I'm a bit shocked. I'm not sure how I feel about this, but I suppose in some ways give props for Oda for going very dark, but at the same time I'm feeling it's a bit it's a bit cruel. But I can see that many people's like, man, this is powerful. This is like berserk levels of darkness, if you will. Which I suppose in some ways, Oda's going very bold, and I honestly don't think you'd ever see something like this in like Naruto or Bleach, like from the other big three. The closest I can remember even seeing something like this would probably be Attack on Titan until like the retcon in the last chapter, maybe. In fact, I'm not even sure if Hiro Mashima would do that with like Mashima would do this, but even with like the worst fan service, but who knows? I could be wrong, but granted, I'm just glad it was never shown, but it's still just dark, even just mentioning it. So I guess props to Oda for that, but I think the main issue that I have is the revelation that Bonnie is in fact, many people have theorized. Though granted, what many people also would probably also hope didn't happen is the fact that Bonnie is in fact actually a kid and not a full-grown adult, and she's used her devil fruit abilities to make herself look older, or at least age herself up from certain time periods. Now, arguably, yes, the whole Bonnie being a kid, explains her devil appearance when she came out of the water. Sort of some of her behaviors, like how she interacts with Chopper and Luffy, who are a bit kid-like themselves. And how Vegapunk and a few other Marines and world government people have been saying, she looks like, you've grown, even though she's a young girl and all that stuff. Gretzi, hate it. So there were hints about it, but of course there were many in the One Piece fandom that were kind of hoping not, and kind of doing all sort of theories that she's a clone, possibly of Ginny, or like a clone of their daughter, or like Ginny has been, let's see, de-aged to like Barney and then forgotten memories, all that kind of stuff. But now granted, even though it may have been pretty obvious that it was like, oh, Barney's actually a kid theory, it turns out to be the case. Now, honestly, this wouldn't be a problem. I can kind of see, I can kind of see, on one hand, I can see this kind of being a thing with like time travel characters. I think the biggest problem I think many people have with like Bonnie and the way they did this is just be how Oda has visually portrayed her, let's see, prior to this chapter. Even like in the introduction with like the way she's posed and the way her outfit is, especially in this current arc of Egghead, where all the female characters in the future sci-fi gear like just have like only panties on, and then you get like butt shots of them, and Bonnie has had a few. And there's also, let's see, when the one where, let's see, when she was topless from drying herself off with Luffy, Chopper, and Jinbei. Though granted, that wasn't like fairy tale in your face kind of thing, and it was more of her backside, but you could still kind of see the thing. And honestly, at the time, I was like, let's see, I don't mind the fact that, like, let's see, at the time, I didn't, when the chapter came out, I said I didn't mind the fan service because it was like not really in your face, and Bonnie age is like from what I recall, Bonnie seems to be the appropriate age. Granted, I did not know about the SBS. Let's see, implying that Oda giving like she's let's see, 22. No, wait, that's now 24. Kind of thing in brackets things in the SBS. So I did not know that when I was reading it. And honestly, I don't think everyone knew that has read One Piece and all that. Not everyone. Let's see. Not everyone always reads the SBS volumes, but so many of them didn't really know this. But I can definitely see let's see, not realizing it until like it get more and more closer to like Vegapunk saying, "Oh, she's just a young girl," and more theories about it. And it turns out to be the case, but it's because of like I said, because of those previous portrayals and those visuals. Let's see, well, I didn't maybe mind at first. Now I definitely think when I reread this arc and read scenes with Bonnie, I'm just gonna feel a bit uncomfortable with like how Oda's visually portrayed this. And if Oda was planning this long term, I also kind of find this a bit problematic because it's like, you're gonna do this you're gonna do this twist, and yet you've kind of done those poses, and it does feel a bit uncomfortable just now looking at it, because now I'm like, oh wait, I know what her actual form is. In many ways, it's like what happened with Seven Deadly Sins. It's like with Merlin, it's like you revealed that, let's see, Merlin, the wizard that was this sexy sorcerer, but then her real form turned out to be that of a little kid. It was sort of similar to like let's see, it was sort of similar to that. Well, granted, maybe not as worse as Seven Deadly Sins, but still. No, and granted, I really hope Oda isn't going to try and do more of those kind of let's see, visual shots like he's been doing with Egghead with Bonnie again afterwards, because it's just going to look weird and all that stuff. I mean, I'm not really a fan of it. I mean, I might have been more acceptable of it if just Bonnie wasn't, but just the way Bonnie was visually portrayed, and it's kind of problematic. Granted, I've only seen, from all the YouTubers I've watched, I kind of find it a bit I'm not sure if some of them got excited at the idea that this theory turned out to be true, but I kind of feel like half of the ones I saw kind of just ignored just the kind of previous let's see, problematics of this visual. I mean, at least let's see, the ones I mainly watched did the ones I regularly watched did address like just how problematic this visual, this revelation with like the visuals are before, some like the main ones, and you've maybe arguably probably watched them, like Mr. Moji, Grand Line Review, and I think King of Lightning. Those are the ones that come to mind. There were maybe one or two others I can think of, but others I feel like just kind of ignored this topic. But yeah. So yeah, not a really big fan, and granted, it's probably not going to help Oda with some people with some allegations given. Some of the other I think some of the let's see. I think this is going to get some people thinking that it's giving Oda all kinds of allegations, which is not going to be helped by the fact that I think earlier he revealed with the way he did the SBS about the S snake, and Ritzy explaining that the cuteness ability, but also pointing out that there might be some people that would lust in the way he answered that, and also the fact that Oda's mentor is Oda's mentor when he was assistant to Rurouni Kenshin mangaka, got arrested for like a very for looking at certain inappropriate images of people, let's just say. But yeah. So yeah, but I've sort of rambled on about this, but a bit. But other than that, and arguably, if it wasn't just for just how powerful this chapter is, I feel like I would have given this a very low score just as a result of this twist. But yeah, but just generally everything outside this chapter is just like that one controversial issue I think was really powerful, particularly Bonnie's Bonnie's last message to Kuma and the Revolutionary Armies, telling her that she got lucky as she got sick and all that stuff, and she thinks that's probably a blessing, but it's really tragic for this character. She was captured as a slave, then escaped only to become a slave again, and forced. I really like how Kuma eventually does think about when she says to get married. And in many ways, it's kind of tragic because Kuma refused to marry her because she didn't want her taken away by the world nobles because of his Buccaneer blood, as like what happened to his mother, but it happened anyway. So I wouldn't be surprised if Kuma just didn't having regrets of maybe I should have just married Ginny. I wouldn't be surprised if he actually wished he did that. But yeah. So but yeah. But you can really just see the despair in Kuma, and just the desperation he has of just trying to see Bonnie again. But she's saying not make it, and it's really heartbreaking when she tells Kuma, says a final message for Kuma saying that she loves him, but Kuma's already disappeared and maybe didn't even hear the message as he's pretty much easily figured out the one place that she would go to, which was Subet Kingdom. So I do like that their bond is so strong that he is able to which should be since that she loves him, that he knows exactly where she goes. So it's very much implied that she did not hear his final words. That he did not hear her final words, but she never really know that. Though granted, it could be, I think some have interpreted it's possible that just as Kuma was teleporting, he just heard the words at the end. But arguably, I think many people are just going to interpret it as Kuma not hearing the words. It's kind of shocking. I mean, he could be told them later as Britzy hold on, I keep saying let's see, sorry. As she tells Dragon and Ivanka to tell them to look after Kuma because he's a bit too nice for his own good. And arguably, probably not realizing what happens. And arguably, it's maybe sort of foreshadowing of what Kuma's fate is at the end. But yeah. But I do like how Kuma, let's see, is carrying her and crying and looking after, and then seeing like the baby. And despite the fact that it's not his child and it's a child that has been, let's see, performed and been born from the darkest aspects, Kuma is not blaming it and promises Ginny it's on the cross, which I think is very sort of symbolic, especially with the whole sun god Nika thing there, that he will look after this child and raise it as his own and all that stuff. And I think this is like let's see, I think that's why you got the meme of Kuma, like Kuma's not the father, he's the father that stepped up. Let's see, which granted, as the fact that we learned this about, I think this is arguably for people as 100% confirmed for many that the world nobles are definitely beyond redemption at this point. Well, granted, I'm pretty certain that would be a clear given the whole genocide thing just a few chapters back, but I guess the personal charge does affect it since many people have come to love Ginny these last few chapters. So, yeah. Now, granted, many people they hope that some people are hoping that they never find out which world noble does it, because they would probably wish that that this world noble suffers the worst fate of death imaginable. But then again, I'm not sure if Oda could go through with something that dark. I mean, maybe if it's a manga of Berserk, maybe. But I've never really read Berserk, by the way. But I mean, after all, Oda's not only just like having Luffy just sending them flying away or punching them to the living daylights and all that stuff. I doubt you'd ever see Oda killing them, though, unless of course you get someone else to kill the character. Which I think one of the theories is that maybe it's Saturn, which would really intensify the conflict with Egghead with let's see if Bonnie stabbing is technically her biological father. But who knows? Maybe it's, since some are theorizing that Saturn is dying, is going to probably die in this arc. Maybe either Kuma comes in, does the death blow, or maybe even the giant robot for Luffy instead. But I know there's some speculations. Some maybe wanted it Charlos, but Charlos was arguably too young for the Spirit Sea to do such horrible acts on Ginny. Now, some I think theorize it might have been his father, maybe Garland. But who knows? Perhaps Oda will make it so that no, we never find out. Which is for the best. And maybe never find out who kidnapped Ginny. Although I think some are thinking it's either Akainu or Kizaru, which will also intensify, let's see, the events of Egghead. And later maybe Luffy's confrontation with Akainu. But yeah, when it eventually happens. But yeah. But I do like this sort of the phases that you see Kuma going in with let's see, trying to raise a father, trying to properly feed her, and then having let's see, washing her, having an iron cage just to make sure he doesn't crush her while they're while he's sleeping next to her. While at the same time also going back and forth and doing his revolutionary duties of, let's see, helping battlefields and training the next generation with Sabo. So you kind of get you see a bit more of the time because Sabo's joined this. And this is arguably one of the more tragic things, is I think this was 14 years ago, but I think 16 years ago, it was Fisher Tiger rescuing the slaves. Granted, I think Ginny might have been captured at this time, but it's very possible that she just missed that she just ended up missing, that she just ended up being missed by being rescued by Fisher Tiger, which now a dark thought comes to my mind that let's see, what if that the reason that the God's Knights were not there to stop Fisher Tiger from freeing all those slaves was because they were too busy trying to capture Ginny for the Celestial Dragon, which is which will be very dark and make the whole more pretty tragic with the whole tiger thing. Is like he just missed saving this one person from becoming it's more like a trophy wife as a plaything, really. Which is like, it's less like Dark just thinking about that, but yeah. But eventually, let's see. We learn that Bonnie starts to have the same disease as her mother, which is, I will admit, it's like this whole gray scale, this blue scale thing kind of reminds me of the Game of Thrones gray scale disease. Though granted, I think although I think the show downplayed it a bit compared to what I think the books are about to do with it. But yeah, but as you saw, Kuma just completely seals up from the sunlight because he knows that it was the sunlight that killed her, which is all the more tragic because of Kuma's like the sun god is supposed to free people, but those affected by this disease will be killed by the sun, so they can never bask in the sun's glory. I do like how we see Kuma trying all sorts of things, going all sorts of places to try and ask doctors, but most of them are either incompetent and don't quite fully understand the disease. And he tells them to shut off. Or many of them seem to be prejudiced with like it's the whole white lead disease, but they aren't able to identify it, so it's arguably worse than that, and you have to end up seeing him quit the revolutionaries. I will admit, I forgot to mention some of the other sort of touching moments you have with Kuma feeding Bonnie and being happy of like stages of her life, saying like calling him daddy, growing up, able to walk and all that stuff like that. But I do like how the elders take care of her. Well, Kuma's aware of the revolutionaries things, but eventually, of course, we learn that Kuma actually quit the Revolutionary Army for a while to try and look for Bonnie and all that stuff, which Dragon fully understands this decision and saying that people should live their lives without regrets. And he even offers to help find contact doctors around the world that he knows, which I think is cool. But granted, Dragon's been getting a lot of flack from this chapter because he didn't risk everything to try and save a comrade. When it's like let's see, when down the line, eventually Ritzy went to send like Sabo and his top revolutionary commanders to go rescue Kuma and all that stuff. It's like, why didn't you go rescue a comrade? And I think Mr. Moji sums it up really well. It's like, Dragon is acting like a revolutionary army leader. He's fighting for a cause, not for individual people. He can't just go charging in and, let's see, Hell's Blaze just to rescue one person. He has to think the long term, and he's been doing that for a very long time. And, after all, let's see, we know that the Revolutionary Army does not have yet the strength to challenge the world nobles and the world government just yet. They're slowly building up their forces. Dragon can't arguably risk compromising them that just to try and save one person, which it's a tough decision. It's not necessarily a morally right decision, but it's a very tough one, and I don't think Dragon is completely unaffected by this decision, if you will. But and I wouldn't be surprised if it must hurt for him to know that one of his comrades has had such a horrible fate. But who knows? But you can see he's trying his best to help Kuma with his decisions and all that here. So yeah, I think there's that. But that to go by with Kuma. But yeah, I do like how Bonnie, we see a young Bonnie, and she's she can be a very foul-mouthed kid, very much mimicking her mother, Ginny, which granted, we could always tell that she was a glutton and all that stuff, which I think it should have been very obvious. I don't know why people thought Ginny would be Luffy's mother. I think it was pretty much downright obvious that she was going to be Bonnie's mother. The only thing we just weren't sure of is that if Kuma was her biological father, but turns out that's not the case, and it's an adopted father. So we've got that, so we've got that, which seems to be very fitting about One Piece, not having like having like you make your family, not necessarily biologically. But I do like how she ends up beating up a bunch of kids that make fun of her. One of them trying to threaten to use the cross in the church and all that stuff. But I do like how it ends up with Kuma trying to stop her going out and then trying to cheer her up. Let's see, when it's like the jewel in her eyes, and he says like, "Jewel," when you get the origin of like her sort of certain, like her name, and it's clearly what her father said of her, because it's like okay, why is she generally Bonnie instead of like Bartholomew Bonnie, since she's supposed to be Kuma's daughter, but and Ginny didn't really have like the jewelry thing, or jewelry Ginny does sound nice, but yeah, but we end up learning that it's actually let's see, Kuma trying to just compliment his daughter's jewel thing. I think that was nice as well. I do like how we get the origin, and like also the origin of like Kuma asking, "Where would you like to go, Bonnie, when you reach a certain age?" Because it's like he always asks that when he's before sending someone with his devil fruit abilities, which sounds all terrifying. But and even Gecko Moria is like worried when Kuma's talking about this. But I do like how, but it's actually our actual audience was actually somewhere heartfelt and sweet before it all turned tragic. So I thought that was pretty well done. I do like how she mentioned places like Sky Island and Fishman Island, and Kuma's just surprised that such an island exists. And even though eventually he does send one person there, and it seems to be a bit of meta as well, of like all the places the Straw Hats go to. But yeah, but it really does break the breaking news for Kuma when we finally learn that this blue scale disease is one that exposed to sunlight will kill you but sapphire scales will kill you. But it's something that only speeds up the process. Any natural light speeds up the process. Eventually, the person will die, and Kuma's just having really despair at this thought, and realized because of just how healthy Bonnie is, and thinking there must be a cure, even though the doctor says there isn't one. But of course, you get the sort of heartfelt saddening bit where Bonnie mishears and thinks that, oh, she's going to be cured by the time she hears about age 10, and Kuma has to do a white lie saying that age 10 that she'll be cured, but that's when she's apparently fated to die. Of course, she's now 12 in the main timeline, so we know that's not the case, but which, by the way, I think after that revelation, you've probably got a lot of people who had Bonnie as their waifu or shipping her with Sanji, canceling all those kinds of canceling that, which I don't. I don't blame them. I don't blame them after that revelation. But yeah. But anyway, I'm going back on to the thing. Bonnie is like we know Bonnie gets cured, but which has led to many to speculate that Kuma. I know the early translation of chapters of the next chapter is out, but for the sake of spoiler free, so that chapter. To me, it feels like Kuma ends up making a deal with the world government to cure Bonnie and all that. That's the theory, at the very least. But Kuma, but I think but like I said, Kuma's doing a bit of a white lie. But I think it's like a well-meaning one, because it's like, why tell her that she's only got 5 years left to live? It's like you might as well give her sort of some false sense of hope and something to look forward to before her arguably possibly inevitable death. But I think he's still hoping to try and find a cure for her. So he tries to get her excited, and then and tries to like get her excited, and she of course getting excited. But we know that by the age of 10, Bonnie is like a pirate, so arguably this might also explain why she might have went to be a pirate later down the line, or at least hints of it, so she could try and go on those adventures that she wanted to do with her father. But But yeah, but interestingly, I do like how the chapter, which I will admit is a bit of a surprise, was that we got the former king back, Becca Corey, who we thought was probably disposed of, but turns out he's alive and he's coming back trying to slaughter and burn people in the lower districts thing. And arguably, I'd say this is the bit. The next chapter is going to start with we learn how Kuma actually became the king of the Sobek Kingdom, which is arguably when he takes down this guy, and then eventually gets labeled the tyrant by the world government, since they're backing the king and all that stuff. Backing it's the actual corrupt evil king that's the tyrant. So and world government propaganda. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Overall, I'd say it's a good chapter. It has some very dark and very problematic things that make it sort of controversial, but arguably, I think it's well done enough that you can't kind of can excuse that. And unfortunately, I do think some One Piece fans will try and I think, as Mr. Moji said, we'll probably eventually try and make it make it not too much a big deal, not as problematic as the revelation about Bonnie's age is and all that stuff. Was this what Oda's visually portrayed beforehand? But it's just what it is. But in many ways, you can really feel the emotion and the tragedy. Even the artwork, even some of the unfinished artwork was very powerful, the way it sort of just shows how dark this whole thing is. Granted, this might change when Oda does the volumes and all that, but it's still, I think, the bits that weren't finished, for the most part, were effective, except for that one panel. I couldn't tell what it was. So, yeah. Arguably, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Let's see. I was thinking of going a more lower score, but honestly, many of the things what works in this chapter works very well. And it's very, you get some very touching, the touching moments with Kuma raising Bonnie, the sort of the tragedies of the disease she has, and just Kuma's rage and all that stuff with what happened to Ginny, and then the sad farewell and all that stuff. It was a fate worse than death. And honestly, at this point, Ginny is probably now, let's see, number one of mistreated moms in One Piece, which is Oda, you gotta calm down with the moms. I know you think that mom's the death of adventure, but still, it's you don't need to be that cruel to them. But yeah, I shouldn't really laugh at that. This is a serious thing. But yeah, I apologize. But yeah, it is a very dark, very powerful, and very controversial chapter, and arguably one people will be talking years to come, no doubt. And it's no doubt at this point, Kuma has the darkest and arguably saddest backstory. And Kuma has just also shown himself to be just probably the most saint-like character of One Piece, with everything he's done. And unfortunately, it's not even over yet, and there's more tragedy to come. But for now, I am Blue Star Saber, signing off. Thank you for joining and listening to the stream. I hope you liked what I had to say, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everyone.